Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a day we don't normally play FF14, but we had some issues yesterday. But so tonight we're gonna get started on the new stuff and see how far we can make it. So let's get going. And we are live. Go ahead and turn on Tank's Desk now before I forget about it.
Are we outside? I'm sorry.
We are over by was it Neonstein on the east side?
Can you see me? Oh, there you are. Oh shit, I got my pad.
Oh, I have not watched any myself, but apparently the voice actor for Alpha Node has been live streaming him playing through the game for the first time,
Ah,
and
Oh,
ah,
that's cool.
he's currently
that
in
is.
he's currently in Heavensward. So
Ah, that's cool.
I'm gonna click on Shale. Oh look, more food.
Yeah.
If you have a moment, Geode wants to take stock of the current crisis. Oblivion may be lacking the finer details in certain areas, so we'd like you to lend your perspective to the conversation. It's going to be a remind us what's going on quest.
Probably.
Sorry to drag you into our meeting, but we need to get a better handle on the threats Alexandria is facing right now. Not at all. Much has happened since the state funeral, and a clearer idea of where things stand would be beneficial for us as well. First things first, then, let's discuss the state of the machine malfunctions. Every single sector reported instances of sentries attacking citizens without provocation and vehicles suddenly becoming unresponsive to controls. I will say I have forgotten about this. And while these malfunctions were resolved fairly quickly, they nevertheless resulted in a considerable number of injuries and deaths. But you haven't heard anything about new incidents since then, right? Right. No additional reports have been logged, as far as I know. That's the good news. The bad news is, I tried to take control of the soldiers when they started hurting people, but they wouldn't listen to me, even though I have the king's authority. Once things calmed down, I was finally able to make them give up their weapons, but if it happens again, I don't know if they'll ignore me like before. The King of Resolve's authority is about the highest there is. Who is this man who can override it with such impunity? Calix. He lived in the age of the Storm Surge, as did I. Lest you forget, he was known for his advancements in electrotechnology, and it was he who established preservation for the purpose of furthering his research. The wasting disease which afflicted him, however, was said to leave him scant years left to live. He must have chosen to undergo conversion into an endless, that he might continue his efforts into the present day. Preservation's early goals seemed noble enough. exploring treatments for Levin sickness, designing Everkeep's core system, that sort of thing. Why harm the people he was ostensibly trying to help? I do not pretend to fully understand Calix's motivations, only that he appeared incensed by what he saw as mankind's failings. He asserted that the strategy of adapting our species through generational succession was outdated, that evolution now requires us to forsake bodies of flesh in favor of eternal preservation. We've already seen how he's employed this simulant to convince Alexandrians that endless conversion is their only hope for survival. Eternal life is assured for the 5,000 who register their neo-regulators. But this is merely one part of Calix's greater plan. He wants the key to interdimensional fusion. With that relic in his possession, he will draw ether from the reflections and expand his efforts to create endless 1,000-fold. If we mean to foil Calix's schemes, then our only option is to determine where he's hiding and put him down. Which, unfortunately, is easier said than done. I've been scouring the terminal we found in the depths of Everkeep, but I've failed to uncover even the slightest trace of his activities. Give me a little more time, though, and I'm sure I can sniff him out. I'll help you. While Galulja and Shale are working on that, I think I'm going to take a look around town. I want to make sure no new problems have cropped up, as well as search for any information that might lead us to Calix. You're welcome to come along. Another malfunction could happen at any time, and I'd be glad to have some brawlers in my back. Count me in. Raha and the others are helping Oblivion patrol the other levels of the key. So, shall we stick to the streets of Solution 9? Sounds like a plan. Thanks, you two. I appreciate the company. I have to speak with the city's administrators about bringing in the Landsguard. I want our soldiers around to protect those who are moving to Tuliolal. Alphino Nalize will be joining me for the meeting, so the three of us can cover that sector as soon as we're done. If I may, I'd like to join your group if you'll have me. The more mouths to ask questions, the merrier, as long as you're aware of the dangers. Thank you. I'll do my best not to be a burden. I'm more worried about you, Geode. Don't do anything stupid. You'll change your tune once we get back with the goods on Calix. Then the drinks are on you. Come on, let's continue this outside. Sorry, I was off in my own little world. Shall we get started? Are you alright, Geo? Me? I'm well enough given the circumstances. It was the Queen's fondest wish that her subjects remain shielded from the horrors of death. So they were for the longest time. Then the moment mortality once again becomes an unavoidable fact of life, they're greeted with an outbreak of violence, an outbreak of bloody violence. Many are bound to give the endless alternative serious consideration. Indeed, and I do not blame them for that. It is only natural that such thoughts should come to mind. What I cannot forgive is the way Calyx wields fear and misery to manipulate people into making that choice. No one, not Calyx nor anyone else, should dictate how we cope with the specter of death. As one who lived as an Alexandrian, I wish to put the choices of this country's future back in the hands of its citizens. And you think we can handle that responsibility after everything you've seen of us? It is what I've seen that has convinced me you can. I awoke 4 centuries later to find our people living and laughing beneath Alexandria's banner. Though surprised and bewildered, I was overjoyed to see it so. You all deserve to be happy. Well then. We'd best not let you down. Now, I suggest we move as a group. We don't know if or when a battle might find us. Well, I believe someone came prepared for just such an eventuality. Is that the grimoire you received from the old castle? Yes, my parents gifted it to me when I was a child. They were adamant that I should learn to protect the things important to me. I was fortunate enough to have a tutor in the arcane arts, so I lay claim to some small measure of skill. If that's the case, it might be better if we split into 2 groups after all. It would certainly be more efficient for information gathering. I guess that makes sense. The 2 of you could take the west side of the recreation zone then. He and I'll take the east. Very well. We shall end our patrol in the plaza just to pass True View and await you there. Let's do the rounds then. We'll see what's what, chat to the people we meet along the way. Pay special attention to anyone who looks overwhelmed or overly excited. Hopefully they will learn us a tidbit or 2 we didn't know before. Oh. New, help pop-ups. Pretty sure it's the same as before, though. Are the sentries and air wheelers safe to be around now? I just know it's going to happen again. Maybe next time I'll be the one who dies in a horrible accident. I need a Neo-regulator. Becoming endless is the only way. Even Queen Sphene said so. The memories. I used to drink around here all the time. Made sure not to overdo it when I had work the next day, but once we were past the busy season, or when the ladies weren't amenable to my company, well, you'd have to scrape me off the street outside in the morning. Or afternoon. The worst I ever got was on what should have been the worst day of my life. If only I could remember it. I was still wearing a regulator back then. It was also the day I first met Shale, although I guarantee she's forgotten it completely. No, this is a quest, not a NPC. Want to hear my story? While I appreciate you offering a sympathetic ear, there's not much to tell. If you must know, a good friend of mine died when those machines went crazy. His air wheeler dropped right out of the sky. He didn't survive the crash. Damn fool wasn't wearing a regulator. I know that's not so strange these days, but he'd never bothered one. He was at peace with the idea of dying someday. I thought I understood what that meant until it happened. What has me in such a fine mood, you asked? Well, I've just registered my new regulator. I was leery of becoming nothing but memories at first, but now that I've gone through with the registration, I've never felt more at ease. Also, once it was done, the regulator displayed the current numbers. Of the 5,000 slots available, over 3,800 have already been filled. So if you're still hesitant, you've not much time to make up your mind. Mark my words, friend. When there's only a few slots left, it's going to be very ugly. A word. I feel like there was a new factor in these stories before. One we hadn't considered during our discussion with everyone in the back room. I'm gonna go with option 2. That fights are likely to break out over the Neo regulators. The fact that nearly 4,000 people have registered is worthy of its own report. But are you sure that it wasn't something else? Wasn't anything else? The guy wasn't wearing a regulator?
Yeah, it's interesting that usually it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Yes, that's it. The vast majority of residents have always worn regulators, so it's not a detail we'd normally think about. With the supply of souls cut off, though, more and more people have been going without them. We need to look into the casualties with the recent attacks and check whether or not they were equipped with regulators. Oh, that's an idea, Geode. I hadn't thought about that. Let's go around the street over to the east. It was pretty chaotic at the time, but maybe we'll find eyewitnesses who can help us confirm if this was a pattern or not. That maybe the machines went crazy and then targeted people that didn't have regulators.
Yeah.
It was once my job to deliver goods by hover cargo. That's why I know a fair number of the names and faces throughout the city. The little ones who jumped for joy when I brought them packages. The old lady who'd always greet me with a smile. I'd hate for anything bad to happen to them. Hello, how are you today? Please let me know if I may be of service. Citywide casualty data unavailable. Government officials are currently processing reports from all affected zones. Can you narrow it down to the recreation zone then? You must have some estimates on hand. Recalibrating parameters. Injured, 87 individuals. Casualties, 19 individuals. Casualties equipped with regulators, 0. You wish to know if the people who died in Machine Rampage were wearing regulators? Sorry, but I was assigned to clearing away debris. I didn't see any of the deceased. No bodies were present by the time I arrived, so I assumed the ushers had already done their work. I do remember there being patches of white dust scattered about that were quite a chore to clean up, but nothing else worthy of mention. I think it's time we rejoin Kryl and Sphene. I was half joking with my boast to Shale, but we may have stumbled upon something major here. We should share our findings and keep pursuing this avenue of inquiry. Didn't Kryl say to meet up in the plaza just outside Preview? Let's get going. Geode, I think we might need to stop off in one of these side rooms. There's a crazy old man who likes hard-boiled eggs in there. We might need him. Essentially, you're saying that the people who were killed by malfunctioning machines weren't wearing regulators. Well, the numbers are still tentative, and only apply to that one zone. We don't know how they'll stack up against the overall data, but this is definitely more than a coincidence. I think it's safe to say that anyone who had removed their regulator was a priority target. Now that you mention it, the person I was treating for injuries wasn't wearing one either. But why? Why are they being targeted over everyone else? Based solely on the lack of a neo-regulator, we cannot judge if a person has no desire to become endless, or if they simply failed to acquire one of the limited devices. But those who wear no regulator at all, they have clearly rejected the old system of using souls to revive themselves. Put another way, they have chosen to live their lives in the knowledge that death is an inevitability. The chances that such resolute people would wish to become endless are far lower, I would imagine. And so Calyx has chosen those least likely to accept his vision as victims to stoke fear and panic. But there was no need to kill anyone. With the way things were, the people were already fearful enough. He could have found 5,000 willing citizens without all this madness. You make a good point. Perhaps this sowing of terror is in service of another scheme, or he's had some other need for the lives he's taken. What of the dust found at various sites? Right, sanitation worker's story. He saw no bodies, but mentioned piles of white dust. Dust, but no bodies? Where have I heard that before? You recall when we went to save Erenville from the sentries in the outskirts? That Usher Malachite told us about much the same thing. No, I don't remember this, Sphene. Remind us, please. When I arrived, I found no body, only a pile of dust, which the wind quickly scattered. Confused, I questioned the residents, but none knew what had become of it. That both stories speak of missing remains is suspicious enough, but the shared mention of this dust is too much to ignore. In that case, we should confirm if this substance was present at the other sites and attempt to ascertain its nature. Following this thread may lead us not only to the explanation for the missing bodies, but also the intent behind Calyx's murderous actions. We need your help. I've lost control over the soldiers in the residential area. They might be trying to hurt the people again. Oblivion members are on their way now, but are you close enough to join them? Damn it, our new investigation will have to wait. Let's go. Oh, well, that's creepy.
Stay back! Stay away from me! Leave him alone!
Are you all right?
What happened here?
A sentry walked into my apartment, even though I'd locked the door and everything. I managed to run, but the man who tried to save me...
No weapons, which is to be expected, considering all the sentries were meant to be disarmed. Yet it was ordered to attack all the same, even if that meant using its bare hand.
I'll leave matters here to you. I'm going to do a sweep of the surrounding area.
Do you know anyone else in this sector who no longer wears a regulator?
Oh, I don't think I've seen Isadora and her boy with theirs recently.
Go to them, quickly! Wayakwe!
I'll be fine. But Isadora's in bad shape. Mother, please.
Isadora! Oh, thank goodness. She wasn't struck anywhere vital.
I'm sorry. If only I'd gotten here sooner.
Everything will be all right. I promise to make your mother better.
Thank you, miss. Will she sleep like that forever?
No, not forever. She'll wake soon.
That's good to hear. Thank you for saving.
Hey, nobody seemed to mention it in the cutscene. But when the cutscene started, weren't there two sentries fighting each other?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Like a sentry that wasn't being mind controlled killed one that was, and then got mind controlled itself. Is how
Yeah,
I
that's what it looked
interpreted
like
that.
to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Did your guys' animation look like you were also healing?
No.
Cool. Mine did.
Mine looked like I was just sitting over there on the floor watching. Also,
At the very end, before it changed, it showed me doing the same thing as what Sveen was doing.
cool. I like it when they factor in healer stuff like that.
Me too.
I also, I also,
mine just sat down and started sleeping.
I also very much approve of this warrior's name.
I saw that too. It's so funny.
Forgive me, I was reckless. You shouldn't have had to waste time tending my wounds as well. Did you see our other comrade back there? He stayed behind in the lobby, but I heard sounds of fighting. I'm sorry. He must have fallen protecting the residents. And also, I don't know if we've ever heard Wayakwe's voice in a cutscene before, but that was much, much higher pitched than I was expecting. Or I should say, much higher pitched than I am physically capable of mimicking. So, our comrade, you think he may have been struck down? If he is wounded or worse, I should go to him. Wait, please. It isn't safe, and you still need rest. Would you stay with Milos and watch over Isolda for him? We will tend to your friend. Thank you. Please, be careful yourself.
I don't know. It might be just me, but I think it's time to deactivate the AI robot.
I would say yes, except I bet Calyx can just turn them back on.
Well, I mean, disconnect him, as in take him out to the junk heap and trash compact them. But yeah.
Isadora's going to be alright then. I'm glad. I just finished my menstruations here. Our Oblivion comrade was beyond saving, I'm afraid. Brave soul who gave his life to save another. Died protecting me. Don't understand why any of this is happening. A sentry was behaving normally, like any other. And all of a sudden, it tried to kill me. Weapons or no, Calyx commanded them to commit murder. Is it over? We came as soon as Wayakwe sent the word. I'm sorry. By the time we arrived, it was already too late. The Geo could be in trouble too. Once we have this radius locked down, we need to find him. But why? Has something happened? Possibly. We're not sure what, but he stopped responding to our communications. We need to prioritize securing the residential sector, though. At least until we regain control over the sentries. Then we should search for Geode. I agree. Since most Oblivion members have sworn off regulators, if our theory holds true, then they could be prime targets for the next attack. Well, that and they are technically resistance fighters, Kryl. Calyx would definitely want them dead. Please, do what you can to shepherd the residents to safety, but avoid the sentries at all cost. Our thanks. Here, take these communicators. We've made modifications to them to prevent Calyx from intercepting the signal, and have been using them to coordinate movements with allies in the vicinity. I'm sus on you two. Wayakwe has one too, so I'll ask her to keep hailing Geode. Good luck and stay safe. Geode said he would sweep the surrounding area, so he shouldn't have ventured too far. Let's get going. Yes, let's just accept new communicators from random people that we've never met before. Yeah, that sounds like a wise decision. Now, we still have our link pearls. That'll get us in touch with Alpha Node and Alizé if we need to. You see no sign of Geode. Perhaps you should search further to the east. Why the east, game? Why not the west? Now, it will be funny if we go to this destination and it says, no, he's not here, keep going east, and we end up looping around back to the west.
Oh, yeah.
You see no sign of Geode. Wayakwe's voice crackles forth from the communicator. Geode! Geode, answer me! There is no response. Perhaps you should continue to search further to the east. You see no sign of Geode. The neighboring residential radius would be the next logical place to look. There he is. Right there.
This is the only place left. Let them be safe.
Geode, are you there? Answer me, please!
I'm here. Sorry for the long silence. I've been busy.
Oh, you're alive! Thank the gods! Where are you now?
The radius next door. The lobby is secure. I'll scout the second floor. Then I'll join...
Dust? What are you talking about? What's happening?
I did not mean to... I just skipped one line there, but, okay.
They're not just collecting souls. They're draining the bodies of corporeal ether. The dust that we saw was all that was left of the victims. They must have modified the soul cells. Shit. Damn you! You can't be here! You need to run, now! A trap! Take care of the others, eh?
No sign of him so far. This way, maybe? Geode!
A shame. I had hoped to leave here with at least one more cell's worth of ether. But seeing how eager you are to interfere, I shall cut this foray short.
Calyx. What could you possibly stand to gain from these atrocities?
Ether sufficient to generate 5,000 endless. How would you acquire it?
How would I?
Until I have the key, the reflections are closed to me. Thus do I make do with the sources at hand. 7% of Alexandria's current population will yield the energy to convert 5,000 into endless. With 11%, operations could continue unabated for 800 years. Our bodies are fated to decay sooner or later. These ones refuse the gift of eternal life, so what difference does it make if I return them to Ether now? I will not waste time and resources on meaningless conflict. This unit cannot offer you worthwhile resistance. Instead, I pose a question. Would you hand over the key if I promise to halt my harvest? It was foolish of me to even ask. I return to my work then. There is much to do if I must take the key by force.
Oblivion needs to invest in better guns.
Yeah.
If your gun only has
Please,
2
Lord.
bullets and it takes that long to reload, you got a bad gun.
Or more ammunition. Sounded
Indeed.
like he just ran out of bullets. So it's like, oh, well, that's a shitter, dude. Shouldn't have done that.
This pile of dust, these ashes. And the soul cell he left behind. Was that his twisted way of returning Geode to us? Damn you, Calyx. Damn you and your careless cruelty. He was our friend. Even so, some might say every death was justified if it meant 5,000 Endless could continue their immortal lives. And if a reflection's stolen ether allowed so many more Endless, why, that too would be a noble sacrifice for the greater good. Who could think that? Not I. Certainly not I. We know only too well there is naught noble in this sacrifice. We have to stop him. We have to find Calyx and put an end to this madness as soon as possible. And under no circumstances can we let the key fall into his possession. It falls to us. We will thwart his plans here in Alexandria before he can terrorize innocents and reflections elsewhere. I mean, honestly, at this point, we should have taken this key to the first or something and hidden it under a rock. That way it can't accidentally fall into his hands.
Yeah. Don't we actually have it?
Yes. Well, I think we might have given it to Ishtola.
Oh,
Yeah,
even
I was gonna say I think she
better,
does
though.
have it.
That's almost as good because she's not here, right? She's
I think
back
she's
at the first.
I think she's in Solution 9 somewhere. But I will say Ishtola is probably the most trustworthy when it comes to handing it to her.
Yeah.
Calyx can do anything he wants. Ishtola will not give him the key. So
Yeah.
we should return to the back room. Shale and the others need to know what happened. Yes, I'll ask Wayakwe to meet us there as well. Also, they did some good work with the facial animations in that cutscene.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What they need to do is just get everybody out of here and then shut everything down. Turn everything off, destroy it, and then make sure everybody's out of there into the first and destroy it. Then he
Or
can't do
into
nothing.
L.
Yeah.
Our dear Geode. The soldiers. If only I'd been able to control them.
This isn't your fault, Gololja. The blame lies with Calyx, and with him alone. It's all so senseless. Why force his plans upon us when we're already happy? Living our lives. What does he even think life is? I'll never forgive Calyx for doing this. Or myself for being powerless to stop him. Wait, where are you going? To clear my head. Don't worry, I won't do anything stupid.
Stay here and get some rest. I'll make sure Nostalgia stays out of trouble.
Things would have been far worse if you and Geode hadn't rushed in there. Many people are still alive because of you. And after adding what you discovered to the leads we've dug up, I'm hopeful we can determine where Calyx is hiding. But not right now. We need time before we can move on. Just a little time.
Oh, Geode.
I'm speaking to Wayakwe. Another comrade gone. Some days it's almost more than I can bear. Geode was... He was an older brother to Nostalgia and me. Dale knew him longer, though. Surely taking it the hardest. And that's on top of what happened to Kakiwa. Do you think you could check on her? See how she's doing? I'd like to put on a brave face if it's me or my sister. Apologies. My mind was elsewhere. We need to press on with the hunt for Calyx, but I can't seem to focus. I should be better than this, I know. Is there anything I can do? Can't help yourself, can you? Still, I appreciate the concern. Akiwa used to say the best thing to do with grief was to let it all out. So I think I'll take myself over to Earth and Sky and say my goodbyes to Geode. Why don't you come along? I could use someone to blubber to if you've a shoulder to spare. Right then, let's get out of Everkeep for a bit. Suddenly, outside. It's a fair trek on foot, so I've arranged a couple of air-wheelers. They've had their communication modules removed, so even Calyx shouldn't be able to seize control of them. Say the word and we'll set off. Ready? We'll be flying close to the pylons, so follow my lead. Air-wheelers are Genelt's babies. You won't find a smoother ride in all of Everkeep. For years now, I've been taking out one I've been taking one out for a turn whenever I needed to lighten my mood. Sometimes Geode would come along too, and we end up racing. Does that surprise you? Our friendship always had a competitive edge. We would often talk about how one day we might fly our wheelers outside the dome. Almost there. Be sure the ground is clear before you touch down. That helped clear my head a touch. You know, you might be the first person I've ridden with who wasn't an Oblivion recruit. As far as I remember, at least, the memories from my regulator days aren't exactly reliable. Come on, head inside. Hopefully the way will be clear of pests today. I'm guessing it's not going to be clear of pests today, seeing as how the quest tells us to clear the way of intruders. Thanks. We can usually avoid such encounters, but sometimes they wander in and block the only path. Not that it slowed you down at all. I've never seen you fight up close before. The surveillance feed clearly didn't do justice. Hopefully that keeps the route clear for a while. Shall we?
Whenever we lost a comrade, the three of us would come back here to reminisce. Me, Geode, and Kafkiwa. Will you raise a glass? Oh!
What are the two of you doing here?
I had a feeling you'd show up. Would you like to join us?
I suppose I could spare a moment? They tell us Oblivion's founders disappeared some decades ago under mysterious circumstances. and it was Kafkiwa who revived our organization. You and Geode helped her with that, didn't you? Tell us more about it. You're keen to know too, right? What they were like back then. The mad things they got up to. That sort of thing.
Those were the days. It was actually right before the Reformation that I met Geode. I still wore a regulator then. I had recently lost someone close to me. I'd also quit a long stint as an adapter to work at a bar of all places. It paid me to sit with patrons and keep them company. So Geode came in one night. It wasn't long before we got into an argument. First-time customer, but tempers flared. And then one of us threw a punch.
You got into a fist fight? What were you even arguing about?
Damned if I know. We were deep in our cups. I think we were both just frustrated and angry at everything. By the end of it, we were both sprawled out in the street. Pair of drunken fools. Then this odd machine stopped to lecture us, scolding us for obstructing the foot traffic and not taking better care of ourselves.
I can't imagine you ever being in such a sorry state. The odd machine, that was Kafkiwa, I take it.
That it was. Once she was done upbraiding us for our unseemly behavior, she launched into a recruitment pitch. Kafkiwa explained that she wanted to protect the outside world from Zoralja's invasion, to keep him from bringing ruin to the place her beloved son lived. And if we were so intent on self-destruction, then perhaps we might consider risking our hides for a just cause. It was a lot to take in. I hadn't given much thought to what lay beyond the barrier, and learning that Kafkiwa herself was already dead
Just
was
one moment.
enough to make my head spin.
Howdy, Aunt. The season hasn't actually really started yet, so none of the loot rewards are really working at the moment. And we were unable to do our FF14 last night, so I think we've decided to do FF14 tonight. But the season should be starting next week, so we should be around next weekend, though. All right, have a good one, Aunt.
But Geode and I were intrigued by her ideas, and wanted to see this future of hers come to pass.
Geode often spoke of it. He told me that meeting Kafkiwa was what first taught him the value of remembering people.
Like he was sharing a holy revelation.
Oh, but back then you hadn't yet taken on Oblivion's name, had you?
Is that so? I just assumed.
It hadn't been Kafkiwa's intention to carry on Oblivion's legacy, nor adopt the cause your parents championed. Not initially, at least. She wasn't even aware such an organized resistance existed. She did, however, suspect the presence of other dissidents. Those who objected to resurrecting the memories of the dead in defiance of the natural order. In the hopes of identifying like-minded comrades, we began searching the core system for traces of unauthorized access. And that's how we found it. An anomalous sector in the back of the Neon Stein. According to Melancholy,
The door to that mystery had remained firmly shut since she took over the business.
The back room.
The back room. We forced our way in, only to discover that the hideout had long been abandoned. Although the occupants were gone, the equipment they'd left behind contained records of a group calling itself Oblivion. After reading through their exploits and their vision for the future, we made the decision to carry on their work.
Thus were my parents' and Kafkiwa's hopes bound together.
And carried onward by Shale and Geode.
We could never have made it this far on our own, of course. Not without the strength of arms you and your friends provided. Losing comrades is a hard thing, but being here, thinking back on the moments we shared, I can see their smiles, hear their laughter. I feel their presence, and I know they're still with us. But these memories of mine are for me alone. Reminders of why I chose to do this, and why I'll stay the course. Right. Time we got back to work. Thank you, everyone.
No, it's me who should be thanking you. Though the pain is still deep, I don't feel like I'm drowning in it anymore. Let's get out there and put a stop to Calyx. For you, for me, and for everyone who's ever believed in Oblivion.
There was no way in hell I was drinking whatever that was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's funny they give us a choice. Like, they know that people are going to be like, wait a second, we've been, had problems before.
Yeah, my headcanon is my warrior of light remembers what happens in Heavensward and isn't touching this stuff again.
That guy drank it. He was all right.
I appreciate you helping me through this. And not only the grief, you've helped me see that my comrades mean even more to me than I realized, which only fuels my determination. I'll be spending every waking moment working to bring Calyx to account for his crimes. I'll do my part, then you do yours. Oblivion needs you. I went back to locating Calyx's lair. I have a new strategy in mind, but it remains to be seen if it will aid in narrowing down the possibilities. I'll ask Kryl for help. I want to re-examine the data, starting with that of her parents. After all, they were the first to break away from preservation and establish an organized resistance in Oblivion. There must be something in there that can point us in the right direction. What are your plans? That you? Apologies for calling suddenly. I've been making the rounds in the outskirts and cannot help but feel as though something is amiss. Might I ask you to join me? Your perspective would be most appreciated. It can wait until you've finished attending to Shale, of course. Seems like your plans have been decided for you. Go on. I have others to speak with before I return to the back room.
As long as she don't go off on her own.
That's what I was just saying. The others had better not have let Sphene out into the outskirts by herself.
Yeah. Or it might not be the real Sphene. It might be that
This is true.
robot one.
I was sus on the communicators, and I just remembered this is FF14. We're in a cave. I could still mount. It's not WoW. I don't have to get outside first.
What else was there? Something else I was going to say. Suspicious. Was it not this way? Oh, I know what I was going to say. I don't remember. I was going to ask you guys if anybody chose the in spirit or whatever, because I don't remember what the reply was when I said yes, I'll have a drink. So it doesn't really matter.
I think
Probably the same thing.
the Warrior of Light just smiled and shook his head, and I don't think Shale really responded to it one way or the other.
She just said, oh.
Mine just smiled. Kind of nodded, smiled.
This looks an awful lot like someone has let Sphene out unattended. I'm gonna have to have words with somebody. Thank you for coming. As I mentioned, I would benefit from your worldly experience. Perhaps it is my imagination, but the townspeople appear to be acting oddly. That is even considering the current state of affairs. As I am yet unfamiliar with the outskirts, I thought you might be better equipped to judge if their behavior is unusual or not. Would you speak with them and see what you think? Though I hope to be proven wrong, I fear something is not right here. You, trembling resident, the 8-foot dragon man has questions for you. Oh, please tell me you brought more Neo-regulators. Officially, they've all been handed out already, but I've heard rumors there were a few left over. Surely the government still has some. Or perhaps Queen's Fiend? I may not look it, but I was a hunter once. Back then, I hardly gave death a second thought. But now, I know the truth. It's all I could think about. There has to be a way to hold on. There has to... You're not wearing a regulator. Don't you know the end is coming? Well, it's your life to lose. Me? I got myself one of those neo-regulators and registered a little while ago. As soon as I did, a display appeared showing the number of registered users. Right now, it's sitting at 4,168. The upper limit was 5,000, wasn't it? Seems the total shot up right after those machines malfunctions. It's only a matter of time before everyone's registered. I pity those who weren't chosen, but I'm going to be an endless. I'm going to evolve and live happily ever after. Greetings. I remember when you visited with Queen's Fiend. Come to check on our well-being, have you? Well, I could say things are rather stressful out here as well. Without knowing if or when our machinery might turn murderous, the specter of death is ever present. People are terrified, and the clamor for neo-regulators has reached a fever pitch. I personally was fortunate to have claimed a new device early on, and have long since completed the registration. Death has no hold over me now. Now I must begin my prayers. The darkness draws closer, grows deeper, and we must cast it out. Calyx knows they're going to need more ether to power things. I think he's dividing the populace so that they'll be willing to kill each other for power. So what do you think? Was I right to worry? Tensions are running high. Yes, that's exactly it. The people are overwhelmed by uncertainty and fear, and with each new registration, the fear inside them grows more insistent. How long until it drives them into full-blown panic? Probably until right now, Sphane. Can you come to resolution? We have a problem. I'm already here with Lama T and Alpha Node. Sounds like she wants us there in a hurry. We should go.
What's happened? Sorry to drag you out here, but I thought it best you see for yourself.
Death is your constant companion. Though you toil with diligence, death may come ere your reward is bestowed. Though your grand works be poised for completion, death may come ere you wake the following morn. Though you enjoy a life of peace and good fortune, death needs but one instant to claim you. Your bodies are weak. Your heart, your brain, every fragile organ rolls the dice from moment to moment. Sheer chance deciding if they function or fail. stoic or generous or righteous, no virtues tipped the scales in that fatal reckoning. The choice is made without reason. The end is cloaked in terror. That is what it means to die.
The announcement began after we finished our meeting with Gossen. As for its source, well...
Calyx. There is no shame in being afraid. It is that very fear which will drive you to conquer death. Let us set a new course for mankind. Let us preserve our existence unto perpetuity. Hope for it, wish for it, pray for it. We will become endless. With evolution's brilliance, will we banish the ever-present darkness of mortality.
Change isn't easy. No one ever wants to take the first step. But this is the right path for us. What other way could there be? I'm gonna do it. I'm going to register.
Val Wuklemat! You couldn't have come at a better time. Please, you have to let us move to Tuliolal.
It's too dangerous to stay here. Who knows when the next century will turn on us? Even if we wanted to become endless, there are no more neo-regulators to be had. Fleeing is our only option.
If the solution was as simple as leaving, then we'd all have left already. Did you not hear the announcement? For the living, death is a foregone conclusion. No matter where we go, or who we shelter with, we won't get another chance like this to overcome our fate.
Easy for you to say when you have that regulator.
The Landsguard are on their way as we speak, and arrangements have been made to see that you all will be safely evacuated. Tulichola will aid you in whatever way we can. So please, remain calm.
I want to help Alexandria. I want to save its people. But what can I do? I am not their queen.
I don't think they genuinely realize that they're stealing lives from other people, right? Like, they don't get it, right?
Yeah, they don't get it. I do find it interesting that Gosan here, who I'm pretty sure is the administrator, says they've been trying to turn the screen off, but it won't stop. So at least he's not 100% on board with this.
Yeah.
But I mean, also, this is a society that for hundreds of years now has been hiding death from the people. Like, deleting death from their memories. So, I mean, the Neo-Regulators probably aren't letting them remember that it's taking lives from other people.
Yeah.
So. And I will admit, when that guy said, the guy with the Neo regulator said, I'm going to do it. I'm going to register. I'm surprised. I almost expected somebody to kill him and take the Neo regulator from him, since apparently he hadn't claimed it yet. Also, that screen is possibly the most dystopian thing I have ever seen. Public service announcement. This is your hourly reminder that you are 1 hour closer to death.
Yeah. Also, we'll probably still run into people trying to steal that from him. It's not over.
Oh
yet.
yeah. Oh yeah. Calix has access to the core system, which means that if he chose to do so, he could deploy the soldiers beyond the barrier. Even if our people learn to live with death and decide to leave the dome behind, they will not be beyond his reach. Yet if it serves to allay their fears even a little, I beg you, Uklamat, please, let them shelter in Tuliolal. We will welcome any and all who want to come. We've already begun evacuations, and we'll be able to pick up the pace once the Landsguard arrives. In which case, we had best spread out and keep our eye on the crowds. The mood is tense, and we must prepare for possible violence. If you happen to determine where Calix is hiding, though, we'll be ready to move at a moment's notice. Surely we'll find a clue of some kind soon. He can't elude us forever. I mean, he's hiding in the computers. He doesn't have to be hiding anywhere specifically. Violence and fear. This is not the future. Violence and fear. This is not the future she envisioned for her nation. Also, I suspect as soon as the Landsguard arrive, the sentries are going to immediately attack them. Because, hey, that's ether that's from outside. We don't have to kill any of the citizens to get at that ether.
Easy ether. Yep.
But any of the citizens we happen to kill were the ones that were going to be running away anyway. So who cares about them?
Need some of that, what's that called? EM pulses, shut down all the computers. You shut everything down. Just so.
Tudiolal would gladly welcome every last Alexandrian with open arms. But what of the nation the late queen was so desperate to preserve? What of the bright haven of peace and laughter? Uklamat. I won't stand here and let her legacy be sullied any further. I will protect Alexandria. That was the promise I made to her at the last. But she betrayed you, did she not? Why do you feel this obligation? I saw myself in her, I suppose. We both felt the people's joy as our own. Yet, alone, we had lacked the strength to protect them. There is so much that I love in this world. Too much for me to take in my arms and keep safe. And that made me afraid. I needed someone who shared that love and fear. So together, we could do what we couldn't do by ourselves. Or maybe it's simpler than that. Maybe I just wish that we could have been friends. So when she turned to me in her final hour, desperate to safeguard Alexandria's future, I swore that I would see it done. In the end, I think you both found the friend you needed. I would be yours as well, Svi. Whenever you fall or struggle to rise, I'll come running to the rescue, and you do the same for me. That's how we'll protect the things we love. That's how we'll protect Alexandria. You're right. You're right. I'm just going to say ... and let them speak. Let them say things. Right, we got a bit sidetracked there. We should probably be on our way. Do we patrol or see if Shale needs a hand? There you are. Galulja. Ah, splendid. We were afraid we'd miss you. Alizé and the others said you were here. Good news. We finally found a chink in Calix's armor. We discovered laboratories of Everdeep's 10th level that once housed a preservation initiative. Payment Complex 1029, it's called. And it's been falsely registered as a distribution center. In reality, it hasn't recorded any traffic in decades. We don't think this is where Calix is hiding as such, but it may well contain clues that will point us in the right direction. I'm sorry it took so long just to get this far. If you're interested, what do you say we all go check it out together? Thank you for all your hard work. This is a huge step forward. And up. And up. We need to take the lift to get to the complex. I've cleared this expedition with the relevant authorities and have one of our people waiting to operate said lift. Let's not keep her waiting. The only problem is that we have had this discussion in view of the cameras, where Calix is almost certainly watching.
Yeah. Oh, and there's a sentry over there, too.
This is true. Hello, Calix. Are you having fun? Are you enjoying spying on us?
Okay, it stopped, like, right in our group. I think that was funny.
I always find it interesting when we're doing these MSQ playthroughs that will start the night and there'll be, 3 or 4 other players around the quest giver, and then for the rest of the night they'll just be at the next quest giver when we get there.
Yeah.
Ready to head on up? Next stop, the 10th level. That's one other thing that the game hasn't really told us, but I feel like there's a lot of people living in Alexandria here.
Yeah. I mean, the buildings are tall and there's so many.
And that's just one of hundreds of levels.
Mm-hmm.
So this is one of Preservation's laboratories.
It's so dark I can barely see.
Just a moment. If I can reroute the power to the circuit.
You got the lights working!
Smell how stale the air is. This room hasn't been in use for many years.
And just in case anyone's wondering, reroute power to the circuit is also called flipping the on switch.
It was thanks to Kryl and Galulja that we managed to locate this place.
And alerting your
You may remember
presence
that my
to others.
earring contained the control
Indeed.
code for the gate to the Golden City. As it was Preservation that constructed the portal, we reasoned that the code to operate it might include a signature of some sort, unique to their organization.
So I took a closer look, and a line-by-line examination yielded a string of symbols identifying the code's author. We then began accessing the nodes for every door in FFXIV, seeking out control codes which contained those same symbols. After a grueling search, we finally discovered our prize behind door number 1860, the entrance to the facility in which we now stand. I'd probably still be at it if Galulja hadn't been around to assist me.
I took breaks, but Shale never stopped working. Not even once.
Those concoctions would probably do me more harm than good, but I appreciate the sentiment. In any case, this next part will require your helping hands.
We need to spread out and search for something that may lead us to Calyx. We're more than happy to help, of course, but I wonder, won't he realize we've found this place?
It's highly likely, and personally I hope he does.
I have reached the point where the voiceover stops, so let me know when y'all get there.
I am there.
I'm there.
Me too.
You all know our main objective. We're here to pick up Calyx's trail. And I've learned that for a certain distance, first, I've learned of a certain device that should help us do just that. I'll explain how as we proceed, but according to the information I was able to dredge up, the device in question should have been installed in the director's office. Now, as for where that might be, yes, this map matches my data. The room we are in is the Researchers' Commons, located in the western side of the complex. The director's office is to the northeast of here. So we should cut across the circular chamber in the middle, yes? Yes, we should, but fortunately for us, the interior door is locked. We will need a security key with the appropriate clearance to open it. Judging by the mechanism, it's probably a card of some kind. Can't you, work some electro magic? I'll try my best, but this type of lock is well before my time. It may take a while to crack. And in case I can't, you might want to look around and see if anyone left a security card behind. Considering the state of this place, it does seem like they abandoned it in some haste. I shouldn't be surprised if we find one. Very well, let's get to searching, shall we? I expect we'll have the most luck looking where the researchers kept their personal belongings. You begin searching Containment Complex 1029. Close cooperation will be necessary to overcome the obstacles barring your path forward. Helpful hints will appear in a different color. Pay close attention to the information provided by your comrades should you find yourself unable to proceed. I'm going to work under the assumption that we're all going to get the same information. So if I read something out that's different from y'all's, let me know.
Okay.
I'm reading abandoned paperwork. Few documents sit in an untidy stack atop the desk. You find no security cards hidden among them. Data terminal. The terminal screen displays what appears to be an index page of an employee manual. Personnel protocols. For security reasons, Containment Complex 1029 has been registered as a material distribution center. Keep this in mind and conduct yourself accordingly, both inside and outside the facility. Each employee must perform their tasks within their designated workrooms: the Researchers' Commons, the Proto Lab, and the Deutero Lab. Entrance into another workroom without official clearance is strictly prohibited. Carry your security card at all times. Your clearance level dictates the areas to which you have access. Equip your regulator at all times. Due to the highly confidential nature of the research materials and other data managed within this complex, Preservation retains the ownership of and the rights to modify the memories of all registered personnel. Access denied. Please log in with your personal account to view. Leadership personnel. Complex Director Demetrius. Protolab's Chief Essafor. Deutero Chief Redacted. Half-open desk drawers. This appears to be the only desk with drawers already open. You can tell at a glance that the desk's former owner has left some things behind. Yes, I will rifle through the drawers. You discover a card-shaped object. Electric surface is marked with a bold level 1. Oh, could that be what we're looking for? Try it on the door and see if it opens. A scanning device. The card-shaped object you hold looks to be of similar size to the scanner pad. You hold the card-shaped object up to the scanner. It's open! You did it! A good thing, too. I was getting nowhere with that outdated circuit. I'm curious, though. Why would they abandon a facility like this? It was run by Director Demetrius, or so the terminal there told me. Perhaps there are more answers to be had once we venture further inside. And let's continue onwards. The door to the director's office is across the central hub. We're gonna need a higher grade card, aren't we? I'm just checking what everybody says before I click on. You hold the level 1 security card up, but the scanner beeps its disapproval. No good? Maybe we need a different card? Yes, the scanner is demanding a level 3 security clearance to open the lock. As much as the delay chafes me, we'll have to comb through the nearby rooms and hope we stumble upon the card we need. Let's start in the proto lab. The door is already open, at least. We'll find a way there. We'll find a way through together, Shale. I'm sure of it. Before I talk to Sphene, or whoever the NPC I'm supposed to talk to is, I'm checking the data tablet in the back corner. Today I began my employment at Preservation. The organization was unfamiliar to me, but when the recruitment letter arrived, I had a gut feeling that this work would be far more fulfilling than any orthodox medical practice. My instincts were correct. Master Calix's philosophy is the refined ideal of notions I've only ever vaguely entertained, that mankind must evolve beyond the shackles of its flesh and blood existence. I had a meeting with Director Demetrius today. I've heard others praise his genius intellect, yet he seems but a guttering candle in comparison to Master Calix's blinding brilliance. This morning I was permitted to access the top floor and observe the workings of living memory. As predicted, the shortage of ether required to sustain the Endless is reaching critical levels, yet Queen Sphene insists on continuing her ineffectual flailing. Our Milal colleagues, including the Protolab chief, have been behaving in a decidedly suspicious manner of late. Should I report my concerns to the director? From tomorrow, I have been assigned to assist with the research project in the Deutero lab. We are scheduled to conduct a major experiment, the details of which I have been kept ignorant. It would seem prudent to back up my memory data. Alright, going to talk to Sphene. The way this room is set up, the canister inserted into that large device looks like to be a soul cell. Could this be where they conducted their experiments to create Endless? Oh, but that would, well, we could probably spend days investigating this complex. Finding a way into the director's office must take precedence. Speaking of which, Galul Jah mentioned a locker over in the corner that he couldn't open. Maybe you could take a look? The locker door is shut tight, but the number pad suggests inputting the correct combination will open it. You have yet to uncover any potential combinations. Perhaps speaking with your comrades will help progress this investigation. Galul Jah says, I dug through this data tablet and found a journal. I'll read it to you. The results of experiment 158 show marked improvement in ether extraction rates. At last we have achieved the target value set by Master Calix. Though I will become endless as per our ascendancy protocols, I will preserve this historic number along with my few remaining worldly effects. Preserve the number. Could be 158. Please excuse my impatience, speaking to Shale. The means to tracking down Calix are close, and I'm itching to get my hands on them. Buklamat says, these notes seem to be about the research they did here. Let's take a look. Experiment 148, submitting inference candidate 201930 to be considered for efficiency procedure review. Experiment 158, maximum value 11509 recorded. Comparative study to be included in the report. Alright then. And one more, experiment 163. New proposal produced a result of 9834. Decreased value verified. Now I have no idea what any of that means. Maybe it'll make sense later on. Bean says, it all looks so complicated. I shall have to ask Shale to teach me how to use these machines. Trial says, machine feeds into a soul cell. I am reminded of my imprisonment by the Empire. Surely this device wasn't made to hold people. Alright, I'm going to start with 158. Select the number keys on the pad to input the combination. Enter up to 5 digits. Probably that other number then. Then press the confirm key.
I think there was only one that was 5 digits, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was the result number for it was the result number for this experiment. So I just need to go back over and talk to Luke Lamont and remember what that number was. Depending on if it was the same number for all of us.
Yeah, I think when you read the same, yeah.
11509.
Yep.
The locker pops open. Inside, you discover a level 2 security card that apparently takes us straight into the Matrix. Got the locker open. And you found another security card. Oh, but does that say level 2? We need a level 3, didn't we? Yes, but it should open more doors for us to explore. You did well. These preservation members led such surprisingly normal lives. Leaving notes, losing their cards. I guess I imagine they'd be more sort of bloodless, mechanical. My parents were once part of preservation, if you recall. It would seem the researchers who agreed with Calix and his philosophy underwent the conversion to endless entities. But I assume those who could not, or would not, eventually left the organization altogether. Oh, I almost forgot. The researchers kept journals in their data tablets. The one I read didn't explain much, but something big happened in the complex, and afterwards it was decided that everyone would become endless. The writer was really happy about this. You could tell how much they admired Calix and his work. The entries ended after that, but maybe you can read more in the other tablet? In the other tablet there? Right, let's move this investigation to another room. Well, we have the Jaturo lab and the maintenance facilities left to search. Both are accessed through the southeast corridor. Let's back to the hub and the locked door across the way, which will hopefully yield our new security card. I'll take the old one if you like. I doubt we'll have any more use for it. Dale, why is this door still closed? I gave you the card. But apparently I still have it. Yes, it opened. So where should we go first? The doTERRA lab or the facilities? Let's start with the lab. Dale, there doesn't seem to be any power here. No, none at all. Possibly the energy supply for this room is on a separate conduit, which means there should be a contingency for opening the door. Look here, there's a sign above the card scanner. In case of emergency, backup power can be rerouted from facilities. Facilities room is down in the other branch of this corridor. Let's see about getting the power restored to the Deutera lab, shall we? Engaging power supply. No good. It's returning an error. There must be a preliminary procedure. According to this error code reference, if the power supply has been interrupted for an extended period of time, then we need to reconfigure both the emergency generator and the circuit control panels. Jail? That's the emergency generator over there, isn't it? Yes, and by the look of it, it's the same model as the one used in Heritage Found. But how does it send power to the other lab? Ah, I see. The energy cable attached to the base of this terminal leads down the hall, directly to the Deutera lab. Which means we need a way to connect the generator to that cable. What about the patterns on the floor? Could this be the circuit we need to reconfigure? I believe you have the right of it. Using the control panels set into the tiles, we create an unbroken path for the power to follow. But I wouldn't give for an instruction manual. Indeed, if you could look around for any written procedures, I'll keep digging through the terminal's directories. Might I also ask someone to operate the generator? I could do it. I've used this type of machine before. Then would you be willing to try and reconfigure the circuit path? The rest of us can help by supplying him with whatever information he might be found in the circuitry configuration. I was going to try to just figure out the puzzle myself. Actually, I might.
I've got it if anybody wants it.
Yeah, me too.
Except I hit a button to try and pull out and it took me away from it, so.
I thought I had it figured out, but it didn't work, so I'm gonna go talk to the NPCs. No, I see what I did wrong. Alright. The pattern is, if you want to know it. Does anybody not already have it?
I got it.
Okay. It worked. We did it. The Terra Lab should now be fully powered. Well done, everyone. If I may, Shale, could we access a certain data log before moving on? I was checking the storage shelves, and one of the labels caught my eye. Preservation, the Early Days is the title. Of course, it'll only take a moment to bring up the contents. Looks like it's a text-based account. I'll read it out. Preservation at Alexandria Institute for Technological Development was founded by Calix, an 11-year-old child prodigy. Approval for the establishing of the organization came during Alexandria's involvement in the storm surge, with Calix's designs for new defensive solutions funded in large part by the Treasury. As the conflict grew in intensity and casualties mounted, Calix funneled Preservation's resources towards the perfection of memory storage. Research into this field continued even after the storm surge came to an end, and Calix eventually elected to preserve his own memories in a virtual domain. So this account is from before he was embraced his endless existence, hundreds of years ago. I met him only once, before the storm surge began. I was attending my father, who was the reigning king of Alexandria. Calix could not have been more than 10 years of age, and required constant treatment for his debilitating illness. Yet still, he published theories so highly regarded that even the royal family was aware of his achievements. Life should not be lost to the injustice of death. Even now, I can hear the single-minded will behind his words. So it was that when the war came to our kingdom, my father was quick to commit to his unwavering support to this somber youth and his proposals for preservation. Several years later, the ensuing violence brought the death of both my parents. Overwhelmed as I was by my sudden succession to the throne, I suspect they spared me the reports of endless research and other less urgent matters. So you had no way of knowing what kind of person Calix was changing into. Did he change? I wonder. Perhaps he has ever been the type to value ideals over compassion, and I failed to see it at the time. Or perhaps he did change, but is still driven by those same deeply held beliefs that mortality is cruel and unjust, and his role is to deliver mankind from this fate. Whatever the case may be, we cannot allow him to shape our future. Let's press on, shall we? If I've done my job correctly, the door to the Terra Lab should be accessible now. I'll give everything a once-over just to be sure. The energy current seems stable enough. Still, you should let me handle this one. Security card, if you please. Oh, and a quick prayer that a shorted wire doesn't burn me from the inside out. Jail. I recommend you place the security card in the card reader and not in a power socket. Okay? That's important. Right, I'll get this door open. Smooth as silk. Let's head inside and see what awaits. Gods above, isn't that... the key to interdimensional fusion? It looks to be a schematic on the monitor. And they've used it to make another key? But isn't it missing the shard inside like the one he has? Ah, we may have been laboring under a misconception. The key was originally a Milal relic. Once this treasure came into its possession, preservation began working to harness the power to cross dimensions. Aside from the crystal, we could see all the vessel's components were constructed here. So, what might that tell us? The crystal itself is the key. That would be a logical conclusion, yes. As my parents explained. The key remains shrouded in mystery. Preservation augmented it with electro, but never grasped the technology's underlying principles. To this day, not a single person understands the mechanics of interdimensional fusion. Not who imbued the key with its power, not when they did so, nor why. Now it makes sense. Calyx could track the key because its vessel was made by preservation. I believe there is much we may learn in this room. On our next visit, I will have to enlist Ishtola's assistance for a thorough investigation. I too am curious about a great many things, but pinning down Calyx's whereabouts is our priority. Hopefully there's a security card here that grants access to the director's office. The research conducted in this lab appears to have been highly confidential in nature. Some of the personnel must have belonged to the organization's upper echelons, and that means higher security clearance. We should spread out and look for any cards that left behind. Remember, anything less than level 3 is no good to us. Starting with a storage crate. This lone storage crate is filled with document binders and other miscellaneous objects, none of which are security cards. The little jaw says, "Why were they making so many vessels? Did the other ones not work properly?" Fiend says, "I'll search through these drawers. One of us is bound to find something, I'm sure of it." Speaking to Wuklamat, maybe someone left a card on a shelf somewhere? Speaking to Kryle, I keep holding out hope that I'll find some evidence of my parents here, despite knowing there is none. Checking the drawers. You find a security card in the cabinet drawer. Oh, did you just find a security card? What a stroke of luck. Have Shale examine it to be sure.
And it tells us it's a level 3.
Uh-huh. Well, if it isn't exactly what we needed. Nice work. You need to talk to Alice more, Shale. She'll tell you that just tell me to go look at a bank of drawers and I'll pull out exactly the thing we need. Always. Oh, a level 3. That should get us into the director's office. So what was it you were hoping to find in here again, Shale? You were saying that a certain device was going to help us? Right, I haven't properly explained myself, have I? I'm looking for a data relay. After we discovered this ostensibly abandoned complex, I performed a cursory investigation which detected a connection to an outside network. When I traced the data's routing, I confirmed traffic from a web of Everkeep security cameras. Considering the way Calyx is always one step ahead of us, we must assume he's quietly seized control of the city's surveillance system and has been using it to monitor our activities. To monitor what you, as the keyholder, are planning. But since Calyx is the ultimate recipient of those transmissions, the flow of data is like a river that we can track, that we can follow back to him. Which is why I need a data relay. If I can analyze the device, I can see where it's rerouting all the surveillance traffic. Then you can pinpoint Calyx's position. That said, he has done nothing to impede our progress, which makes me think this might be entirely the wrong track. Maybe the reason he isn't stopping us is because he can't. Back in the old castle, Calyx said he was measuring his strength. What can he possibly dream up that's stronger than him? Speaking of cameras, that was another thing I meant to mention. I found evidence that someone deliberately disabled the surveillance feed in this room. The most recent recording was also crudely deleted. I was able to restore the data, though, if you'd like to see it. I'll start the show then. Prediction. Trial's parents stealing the thing.
Yeah. And I was going to say earlier, why don't we just add the second key to the first key? That makes sense.
Yes. The idea of eternal life. It's begun to frighten me. I struggle to renounce our conventional wisdom. Death is the means by which life prunes its branches, leaving the trunk to grow strong and tall. We die so that our species may flourish. What would become of mankind were we to halt that process? If unending stagnation is the fruit of our labor, then perhaps we strive for the wrong thing.
Your argument is a rejection of Master Calyx's vision.
The authoritative researcher must be following Calyx's vision because he definitely doesn't have any of his own. Not with that haircut.
I suppose it is. Perhaps
My
such
thoughts
dread would
exactly.
not plague me, were I capable of sharing his perspective on the subject. But I cannot. He and I are too different, in too many ways. I lack his extraordinary genius. I had no illness threatening to cut my life short, no singularity of will to cut away all distractions and focus solely upon research. I have nothing but respect for his determination. The way he overcame his prognosis and seized the means to transcend death itself. But I'm not convinced that this obsession with living is the right path. That's why I've decided to leave preservation and put all my effort towards building a legacy for the next generation to come. Surely you...
protocol, you understand. There can be no exceptions.
I have reached the non-voiceover part.
Same.
Same.
Me three.
She only wanted to leave, and he executed her. I checked the images against the personnel data, and the man who pulled the trigger was Director Demetrius himself. Everything I could find on him pointed to a deep infatuation with Master Calyx. The cameras in this room have been out of operation ever since that incident. Given the recording was erased, I can only assume he was trying to conceal his grisly deed from the other researchers. I'm not surprised, given how my parent described their defection from the Institute. They spoke of rushing me through the portal even as Preservation's agents closed in on them. I dare not ask what became of them after that, but if it turns out they were captured by their pursuers... Going with, they did not regret their actions. Right, the Echo. Knowing you saw them as they were, your words give me great comfort. Oh, Kryl. Worry not, Sphene. Thanks to the Haven of Living Memory, I was at least able to meet my parents and learn what they stood for. It is enough for me to carry on. Even now, we don't know how the conflict unfolded between your parents and Preservation. But what we do know is that your mother and father cleverly expunged every last trace of their movements. They made sure no one could cross into the source or threaten their child's safety. Right. Let's press on, shall we? This tale behind the key deserves a fitting conclusion. To the director's office. A scanning device. It waits for the security card with the appropriate level of clearance. You hold the level 3 security card up to the scanner. There we go. Let's head inside. Now, to find the data relay. And don't be shy, everyone. Speak up if anything odd catches your eye. Come with me. I might have need of the security card. This terminal isn't connected to any outside networks, so it can't be the data relay I'm looking for. This office is also smaller than the map. Yes. I'm positive we're in the right room. What am I missing? Sorry. Can I ask you and the others to search the office for any clues to this infuriating puzzle? Fiend says. Shale says the room is too small. How could that be? Soul cell storage case. The collection of soul cells may have once belonged to the director. They appear to be empty. Office shelves. Find a crumpled note wedged between file binders. Secure room lift access requires passwords to be input simultaneously at terminals in the Proto Lab, the Terra Lab, and the Director's office. Perhaps this discovery would be of interest to Shale. Muklamat says, does this display do anything else? Beverage station. Having lain dormant for years, the now active coffee maker has already entered a self-cleaning cycle. It appears to have no other purpose beyond brewing coffee, though it remains to be seen when it will be able to do so once more. The little jar. These drawers have only big, heavy books in them. I would have filled them with snacks. Oh, but maybe the books are hiding something. I'll check. Cluttered side table. Amongst other personal effects, you find what is presumably the director's data tablet. A closed locker stands next to the table. Examining the data tablet. You pick up the data tablet and begin skimming through its contents. Daily reports. Nothing of note. The mystery of the key's activation condition remains unsolved. The key triggered an explosion today. Temporary interdimensional portal verified. Continued attempts to stabilize the core's energy reactions. 13 researchers sustained fatal injuries in the explosion. Memory faculties of 4 personnel sufficiently intact for endless conversion. Remaining 9 designated for ether reclamation processing. Nothing of note. Rejected resignations of 2 Malal researchers. Major incident. Details in full report. These 2 inept Malal broke with preservation and absconded with the key. Though the fugitives have since been caught and eliminated, we were too late to recover the relic. The only reason we retained our flesh was to serve Master Calyx's physical instruments to conduct his experiments. Deprived of the object of our research, our existence serves no further purpose. I dare not imagine the depths of his disappointment. The complex is to be shut down. All personnel will have their bodies reduced to ether, which will be allocated for further experimentation. Memory data will be archived. Any endless conversions will be subject to Master Calyx's discretion. If he does not deem us fit, then we are not deserving of eternal life. Shutdown protocols. All personnel have undergone processing. Once the shutdown protocols have been completed, I will proceed with my own corporeal dissolution. As long as the key remains in the physical world, we must keep this complex in pristine condition. Whether it be needed for experiments or otherwise, it must be ready to support future operations in whatever capacity Master Calyx requires. To that end, facility equipment will be maintained in stasis mode. Furthermore, a critical component for secured room access will be stored separately to defend against unauthorized entry. Speaking to Shale. Have you found something? Thank you. A misplaced note, was it? With instructions for accessing a secure room, no less. Seems like we need to enter a password on 3 different terminals at the same time. There was no such room marked on the map, was there? No. A precautionary measure, no doubt. And if passwords are involved, I expect the access lift itself is concealed, too. Concealed? By electrope, you mean? Ah, could it be that wall? I thought it seemed odd when we walked past. Remember what Kakiwa used to say, Shale? Never trust an electrope surface. Electrope isn't always what it appears to be. Of course, Electrope is how you alter the look of all of Solution 9's floors and walls, isn't it? In which case, it shouldn't be hard to disable. Another door. I managed to deactivate the projection, but the lock is another story. Did that note lay out the password protocol? I say we go ahead and try it. I agree. 2 people should prepare the lab terminals for input while the rest of us look for passwords here in the office. I'll take the proto lab. And I'll take the Deutero lab. Actually, it might be better if you stayed, Sphene. Your knowledge of Alexandria and its people could be needed here. Yes, you're right. Passwords are hiding behind clues. That may be something I could help with. I could help too. I've lived my whole life in Alexandria, after all. I will take the Deutero lab duty, then. We can keep in touch via communicator to match our timing. You shall have the honor of entering the office password. Once we've determined what we need to input, take your place at the terminal. I'll stand back to guide Wuklamot and Kryl through the process. You know, there was that display plate over there. The one with the gems. I thought since it was made of electrope, it might have some other purpose. But I couldn't find any switches or buttons to make it do anything. Maybe you can figure it out. Two jewels are embedded in the electrope plate. You identify the blue gem as a sapphire and the red gem as a garnet. There also appears to be an empty slot for another jewel to fill. Returning to the cluttered side table. Open the locker. The door of the locker swings open easily. It contains nothing of note. You quietly shut the locker door.
Creepy.
Yes. Take a closer look at these reports. One of them might have hints to passwords. That was Sphene, by the way. Little Jaw says, I keep searching the drawers with the books and found a cube puzzle made of electrope. It's probably just a toy, but maybe. Solve the puzzle, Glue Jaw. You got it. See, if I move this a bit, then connect this circuit. There. Huh. Something inside. Huh. It's a pretty green stone. I think it might be an Alexandrite. They say these gems were so treasured in the past they named the kingdom after them. You should hold on to this one just in case. Into the jewelry display case you go. The gemstones fit snugly into place. Almost immediately afterwards, the glowing lines of a diagram appear on the display, accompanied by a short phrase. Now, that is a floor plan of the complex. As you continue studying the display, you realize that these shapes correspond to the rooms of the complex in which you now stand. This may be related to the passwords you were looking for. The scrawled phrase. Glowing words appear to be handwritten. Yes, I knew that jewel would come in handy. Let me see. Heed the stones. This must be about the special meanings Alexandrians have for gems. It's an old belief, I think, where each type of gem means something different. I bet if you ask Sphene, she should be able to tell you more about it. After all, even her name comes from a gemstone. Alright, gonna go talk to Sphene. Yes, if you have questions, you need only ask. Symbolism Alexandrite. Well, I was taught that Alexandrite represents the concept of protection. It is incidentally also the origin of Alexandria's name. Oh, you think this has something to do with the passwords? Sapphire and a garnet as well, you say? Yes, they all have meanings. Alexandrite, as I said, is protection, sapphire is honesty, and garnet symbolizes devotion. We should try these words out at the terminals and see if they're accepted. Certainly hope you were right. And got enough information to attempt entering the passwords. We're all set to go. Wuklamat and Kryl are just waiting on their passwords. Let's start with Wuklamat in the Proto Lab. What word should she enter? Let's see. Anybody remember which one was for Garnet? Or no, that's Sapphire. Which one was for Sapphire? Was it honesty or devotion?
Hold on. I'll have to look. I can't remember. Hold on one second.
Actually, I can just scroll up on the text. I think it's in the... I think it should be in the text here, maybe?
Sapphire, you said?
Yes.
Honesty.
Okay. So Wuklamat should enter honesty. Kryl should enter devotion. And we enter protection. Alright, we have all three passwords ready. Now to enter them into the system at the same time. Oh, I'm glad that worked. That secure room is the only place we've yet to search. The data relay is anywhere, it has to be there. We'll venture in as soon as Wuklamat and Kryl rejoin. Alright everyone, time to board the lift and see what awaits us.
What was the password for Protolab again? I'm sorry.
Honesty.
This terminal doesn't look special
I've got
to me, but
I've
this
got
is definitely what we're
Sapphire,
after.
Granite, or Alexandrite. That's where I'm at right now.
Oh, you need to go talk to Sphene.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't do. I'm like, I'm listening. Why do I need to talk to her?
It is. But whether or not it will suffice for our purposes is another question.
Okay, so then Protolab was honesty.
Correct.
And then the lab was the
Devotion.
devotion. And then the other one was protection, right?
Right.
The Endless are created using the memories of the deceased.
Thank you.
But as memories are, in essence, collections of data, the resultant entities have no physical form. These data entities, as we might call them, have only two methods for interacting with the material world. One of these we saw in living memory, where the Endless are granted temporary bodies through the use of corporeal ether. They become much like solid ghosts that one can see and touch. The other method, which FFXIV employed, is the remote operation of a machine. But where do you suppose the Endless are to be found when not inhabiting a physical body?
The Endless are memories, and if memories are data, then...
Yes, we suspect they reside in a virtual domain, one contained entirely within an electrope-based machine. We've seen such a realm before, after all.
Oh, you mean like the Alexandria made from the Endless Fiend's memories? It all seems...
So this virtual domain, it would also be housed within the Meso Terminal.
But how? I thought we shut down all the terminals in living memory.
You did. And Kafkiwa's program performed just as she intended. The Meso Terminal itself was deactivated, as evidenced by the failure of the device which was keeping Spheen's body in stasis. Be that as it may, we face a master of electrope engineering. That he managed to partition and protect the sector harboring his own memories is well within the bounds of possibility.
Let us say that the Meso Terminal does indeed contain a second domain, and that Calyx himself resides there. This city, on the other hand, exists here in the Source. That being the case, I thought perhaps we could prevent his remote interference by closing the gate to the Golden City, and thus severing the connection between worlds.
Except I tried to close it once already when I visited Living Memory. The process required administrative authorization, a restriction I assumed at the time had been imposed by the Queen.
But now you think Calyx might be responsible.
Just as I suspected. Even now, security transmissions from throughout the Keep are being tapped by the core system and routed elsewhere. Almost every single one has you as its focus. He's keeping track of the keyholder's movements.
Time's up, and what a waste of time it's been. Hoping to find me by tracing security data? That will not be necessary. Through a not inconsiderable effort, I've taken your measure and prepared a force sufficient to subdue you. Come. I invite you to the upper reaches of the Meso Terminal. The storage device which holds my memories is there. Break the memory bank and victory is yours. I, in turn, will seek to wrest the key from you with any and every means at my disposal.
And if we refuse this
Time to board the
invitation...
lift.
We're ahead of
I
you,
will
yeah.
wait
You
and
go in.
continue to convert Alexandrians into Endless. Consider the urgency of the situation and make the wiser choice.
Answer me one question, Calyx. The Endless Fiend. When she was queen, you had her face an impossible task, then manipulated her into using the key when she was at her most desperate. If you can do all that, then why not whisk it away when her plans went to ruin? Why let it fall into our hands?
You pour salt in the wound. That disaster was a miscalculation. As her end drew near, Sphene and her restructured memories had become one with the terminal's control systems. In that singular place, in that singular moment, she wielded an authority greater than mine. Thus she was able to shield you, the neighboring sovereign to whom she entrusted her nation's future, and the hero to whom she entrusted that priceless key. I am unsure to what degree she perceived my presence, but she knew that someone was watching. Does that satisfy your curiosity?
It does. And I'm satisfied that you will take nothing more from this nation. Not one more life, not one more future, not one single smile from another child's face. Sorry for losing my temper, but there's only one way we can deal with people like Calyx. Whatever grand future he envisions, someone will be made to pay the price. And I won't let that happen.
If I may, I realize it is not my place to say this. Even so, I must thank you both. On behalf of my other self, allow me to say how grateful I am to have you as...
I am past the voiceover.
I am as well.
I'm at that spot.
I'm at the town spot.
Well, that was an adventure. May not have been by the method Shale was hoping for, but at least now we know where to find Calyx and what we need to do next. Indeed, while I remain curious about Preservation's research into the key, that is an investigation for another day. Then let's head straight to the back room. We should get everyone on the same page before we make our move. And I'm guessing this is probably where we need to call it for the night. Because I think
Yeah.
we've gone a little over what Zora said earlier.
Yes.
And just a second, I will wind down the stream. Alright guys, we are going to call it here, and we will hopefully be back next Saturday to continue. So, until then, I want to thank y'all for joining us. Hope y'all enjoyed it. See y'all next time, and have a good night.